to Music City Horror.
Welcome to episode 20, Music City Horror. I'm going to try not to butcher this. Kayla Lena, and it's been many months since I didn't butcher that, so that one was for KB, and
he's finally himself again.
Yeah, I got some sleep finally. So episode 20. We just looked it up. We couldn't believe we're already at 20. I was thinking about this. We're almost on the 1 year anniversary of me and KB serendipitously. How do you say that?
What? God.
Serendipitously.
Serendipitously.
Thank you.
There you go.
It started off a word and then turned into noises.
Yeah, that one got away from me.
You nailed Kayla Lena, but then you lost a complete sentence.
Yeah. So yeah, but we were at the same wrestling show in Nashville, almost sometime in early August of last year, and then
it's so wild.
Yeah. And then we saw
We'll be at one next week.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Sunday, yeah.
That's so fun. The birth of Music City Horror.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Birthday. Yeah, pretty much.
And it's funny that you would think it's, at a horror movie or at a haunted house. No, we're at a local wrestling show.
I don't feel like that's like a thing that people that listen to us regularly would be surprised at this point, just because we always find a way to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
One day we'll do a wrestling and horror episode.
Oh, we still had to do that crossover. That's right.
But I want to reserve it for when we can maybe snag a certain interview.
Mm-hmm.
So. We'll see.
Lane and I are like, I know.
I want to keep.
I don't know people's names. Yeah,
it's okay. It's
like, is John Cena still a person? I don't know. That's that is my favorite meme for the past year. Is the John Cena memes. It's still the best.
It is pretty good.
And his name is John Cena.
Yes. That's good.
All right, let's not get us sued by his lawyers or something.
So, anyways, he
seems like a fun dude. He'd be fine.
Yeah, he could come on the podcast.
He just got heartbroken too, guys. He's single.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
oh my gosh. We got a poster of him. You know those old Reed posters that your school library had?
Yep.
So they still make them. And so I insisted on buying a whole bunch of them. And they had John Cena poster, and none of the other librarians knew who he was except me. And I was like, trust me, we're buying this. Yeah. And all of the little children were gathered around it. It was very adorable.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was like, I told you this was a winner. I got it. I'm cool.
I know what
kids like.
Yeah.
I got it.
He does seem like a fun dude. Before we go further off the tracks, we're going to... So I guess we'll kind of go ahead and talk about the new stuff coming in August to the streaming sites. There's a big long list, so we'll get started with KB on that.
What's up, nerds? It's me. I do this every time, and this week it's going to be very kind of lackluster because it's different when you don't have a lot to talk about, but this is one of those things where I'm going to be lackluster about it because there's too much to talk about. When I read this list between Shudder, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, everything, there is so much coming out in the month of August that it would take me another 10 minutes to talk about it. So we're going to just go over a couple so I don't bore you by reading this entire list. And feel free to jump in, guys, if you've read this list. Jump in with your favorites because I'm sure we all have favorites. The one that I'm probably the most excited about is the Blair Witch Project, and that's coming out on August 6th on Shudder. I honestly might get Shudder just because I have actually never seen the Blair Witch Project.
Oh, girl! Oh my God! Okay, you're in for a treat.
Yeah.
So I have always meant to get around to it, and it's just one of those things when I sit down to watch something, it's not the first thing on my mind.
Yeah.
So it's just never been something that I've actually, made a point to watch. And maybe I just need to make myself a list about, a list of different movies that I always forget. I forget to watch them. But that's one of them. More importantly, Eli, I'm sure you read this, coming out on August 2nd, is See No Evil and See No Evil 2.
Yeah, I was excited about that one.
Featuring our boy, Glenn Jacobs.
The Big Red Machine.
I've never known his real name until now.
The Death's favorite demon.
He also
Big
answers
Red.
to Isaac Yankem, so...
Oh, yeah. Formerly known as Isaac Yankem.
I wanted to interject real quick. Amazon will also have the Blair Witch and the Blair Witch 2 in August.
Oh, nice.
So if you happen to already have Amazon Prime, KB, you have it?
I do, and I'm sure our wrestlers.
Yep.
I'm still thinking about.
We can talk about wrestling. Yeah.
Our listeners will enjoy that because it's going to take them 10 minutes to read this list. But the list is posted on our website, musiccityhorror.com. Everything that's coming out in the month of August, and we'll try to make sure that we compile a list each month so you can plan your binge days. Any other ones you guys are excited about?
I have already seen Mother, lowercase with an exclamation point.
Definitely excited about that.
Yes, I watched it once and I feel like there are people who love it, like me, and I was completely obsessed with it, or think it's like the worst movie that's ever been made. But I encourage everybody to give it a chance and watch it all the way through and actually think about it while you're watching it. Like, put your damn phone down, watch the screen.
Tell them, Kayla.
Think about it. So
that
you can actually figure out what's happening.
Voice right there.
Yes.
Put your damn phone down.
Put your damn phone down.
Put your damn phone down.
Watch a movie. Watch one screen at a time.
I don't know if y'all saw
I loved it.
Joe Bob talking about that, the fiddling on the phone.
I was like, preach it.
Yeah, preach.
Preach, Joe Bob. I know.
Exactly.
And this is something I do myself, so I'm like being critical of people without being critical of myself. But watch Mother, let it just kind of roll over you. It's crazy.
Was it one of those things where, like Hereditary, that people loved it and hated it, but the people that loved it really loved it?
I feel like it was even more divisive than Hereditary.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just because a lot of people with Hereditary, they think it's either too boring or they didn't like the ending, which, whatever, they're wrong.
That whole movie was just a true masterpiece.
Just wrong. But with Mother, I feel like people just hate every single part of it. But I loved it. I thought it was awesome and complete genius. But yeah, I'm happy that it's coming out so I can rewatch it again and kind of dive into it again.
I will be watching it as soon as it comes out. It's definitely one of the movies that I've kind of put off. Another one that I've forgotten about. Just like I did with Blair Witch Project. I'm also excited about The Ninth Gate that's coming out on August 1st on Amazon Prime.
Is that Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp, where he has like the fucking demon book.
Yes, and he was like hot and he had glasses. And he was
but he
smart
was also
somehow.
Like dingy.
Yes,
at the same time.
Kind.
Yes,
yes.
that is one of my favorite movies. Always a good rewatch. Me and my husband rewatch that one every so often, and it just gets better with age.
That's awesome.
So other than that, I'll be able to explore a lot of movies that I've either never heard of or never seen with that list. So it definitely gives you a lot of material.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I've been wanting to rewatch Cloverfield, which is coming out on Amazon, and the others too. I love the others so much.
Me too.
It's so good.
Beautiful.
It's such a beautiful movie. So I always just kind of like putting it on when I'm kind of doing something else, not on my phone, but like working or something important. But I
Get off your damn phone.
Get off your damn phone.
Get off your damn phone.
But yeah, this is a good list. They,
It really is.
finally. I was been kind of a drought for a bit. I feel like.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like if they're swinging for the fences in August, like I can't imagine what they're going to be doing in October.
Woo!
That's real.
I'm ready. I'm so ready.
I'm looking forward to In the Mouth of Madness. I watched that when I was young, and
I know, I want to see that.
It was just, I don't know. It never really stood out, and I think that was like that was right around like it says it was 94. I think it came out in 95, so whatever. Like we were talking about earlier, I'm just going to ignore this evidence and believe what I want to believe.
Fake news. It was 1994.
Fake news.
There was no internet back then, so how can you prove it? So,
Right.
but it was like the last Freddy, the new Nightmare was out, and then Scream came out, and it was kind of in that era. So like I remember seeing it, but it just never really like made a big impression. And but of course it's gained acclaim over the years.
Oh, I just am looking at the Wikipedia page for it, and I've never seen it, but I saw it was like Lovecraftian, which is just my like trigger happy word.
Oh,
so
yes.
I'm very happy about that. So I'll have to watch that too.
Also at the end of August, Shudder is bringing Wolf Cop, and it is just
hell yeah.
It's just a silly movie. I really like the first one. I've got like a poster from it or something, so it was really good. Netflix is kind of dry next month. There's a couple things. Amazon's killing it. We talked about Blair Witch and the sequel, if that's up your alley. Jacob's Ladder I want to revisit because it's supposed to be just a mind fuck, and I don't really remember it. I may not have seen it actually. They have Teen Wolf and Teen Wolf 2. A Clockwork Orange, that's always good.
Oh my god. I wrote a paper on that in my film studies class, and my professor was like, so you're the weirdest person in this class. And
yeah, because that's the weirdest movie.
Weird. I like analyzed color in the film or something like that, and he was like, okay.
Oh my god.
You're really weird. He loved it, whatever.
Yeah. Let's see. Hulu's got Tales from the Dark Side. I recently rewatched that. It was on HBO. Deborah Harry's in it. I think it's Matthew Lawrence. It's Joey Lawrence's little brother. I think the one that was in Boy Meets World. I think he's in it. Christian Slater's in it. Steve Buscemi, Julianne Moore. Like, there's a lot of people in it. I didn't really get I don't know. Like, people don't talk about it like they do like Creepshow and maybe like the Twilight Zone movie. It also came out in 1990, so it was actually past that. It wasn't an 80s flick, so I don't know if that hurt it or helped it. I don't know, but I've always thought that one was pretty solid. And then it's like some of the big hits they're bringing Halloween H2O and Shaun of the Dead will both be on Hulu in August as well. So, and then we talked about Mother as well. So yeah, when I was compiling this list last night and put it on the website, I was just like, crap, there's a lot of stuff. So, so musiccityhorror.com, you can check out the full list. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about Castle Rock. Is everybody caught up, or is anyone not?
I have not even started it.
Oh,
either.
I watched the first episode the other day. It starts off a little... first of all, I'm a big Stephen King fan. I haven't read all of his books, but I've read a big majority of them. I've read a lot. And I haven't really studied a whole lot about this whole like Stephen King universe, but I see the connections and I kind of understand what they're reaching for. But Castle Rock is supposed to be kind of set in the Stephen King universe. I haven't recognized any particular like same characters before, but you can tell it's very Stephen King influenced by all of the stuff, and just the way that they talk and the way that the characters are developed seem very Stephen King-ish. So I was pretty hooked. It starts off, at least to me, a little slow, but I'm intrigued enough by the idea of the Stephen King universe, as much as that term's kind of getting overplayed. But it just makes me want to watch it more. And the acting is like out of this world. They've really done a good job, and it looks fantastic. It's very beautifully shot. It's very like dark and moody, and just kind of looks cloudy a lot, which just kind of sets the mood for it a little bit. So I liked it a lot. I'm going to keep watching it, but I've only watched the first episode, so I don't feel like I'm a fantastic judge of it so far. But I've heard some really good things too. People seem to really like it.
So you're saying you haven't read every Stephen King book?
No, I have not read every Stephen King book.
You're fired.
See, it's been a long time since I've watched a lot of this stuff.
Because we thought that you
Wait a second.
You're the expert.
You put that on your resume.
Read almost all. I've read a lot, but not all. Every once in a while, one will sneak up on me, or one that I just kind of know is bad, and so I know that I don't want to read it. That sounds terrible. I just am like, I know that he doesn't even remember writing this book, and I don't really care about reading it. Yeah. So I'm just not going to do it.
I binged all 3 episodes because I'm a maniac, and I think it's like, it's not like something's happening and then a Saint Bernard runs by, or it's not like
overkill,
right? It wasn't like It, where there was like very noticeable visual cues from like other stuff, It obviously starts at Shawshank, so that's obviously a big thing. And they kind of mention, there's some references to the actual movie. I don't know how much different it is from the book. But I mean, even if you're not the biggest Stephen King fan, I think it's going to be good. It's definitely kind of more thrillerish right now. I haven't really seen, which Stephen King's not always, it's not always gore and that kind of stuff anyway. But, I think it's going to be it is slow burning. I mean, I'm on the 3rd episode and it'll still kind of run a little slow. But I think just as a genre fan, I think you'll enjoy it. And then they announced, I think I sent it to y'all yesterday, it's going to be anthologies, so each season will be different. So
yeah, I'm curious about that. I don't know. I'll see how
I'm just not confident that it's been. I just don't. I think that maybe it's been too long since I've seen some of those movies, and that I'm afraid that I'm not going to understand it.
Yeah, I don't really think you need to have any backstory, to be honest.
No, I don't think so either. And I mean, I try to separate myself from my Stephen King obsessiveness a little bit, but I feel like they're not referencing like former characters in the stories or anything like that. I feel like it's accessible to people. I feel like we all kind of have Stephen King stories kind of flowing in our culture. That we all just kind of know enough to get by with something like this, I think.
Yeah. So, if nothing else, Kayla and I can watch it. Report
I'll
back.
probably watch it.
I just need to get Hulu. I don't have Hulu, so I gotta get that hooked up if y'all really like it.
Lena, I will take care of you.
Okay.
Don't you worry. Because sharing is caring.
I was about to say, I think we all can cover at some point. Yeah. We all good.
Cool. So, yeah, we just wanted to mention that because that's obviously anything related to Stephen King's going to be a big thing. And we actually mentioned that on one of our first episodes way back when. So
yeah. Oh, my gosh.
So long ago.
So long, I know.
So moving on, just because we have a lot more to talk about. See, this is what happens when we record like once a month. We have a lot to discuss because a lot of stuff happens.
What to say?
So last episode we got to interview Joe Bob Briggs, and then 2 days later he hosted his show on Shudder, The Last Drive-In, and basically crashed the site. So I mean, you're basically
Joe
welcome.
Bob broke the internet.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
I mean, there was a sequence of events. Our interview posted, and then he broke the internet. So
we're not saying that it was us, but
we're not saying it was us.
we're not saying.
Not exactly us.
But it was a lot of fun. My feed. So I was out of town and I was watching it on my iPad, and a lot of people couldn't even get on the feed. But when I got on, my feed started at like the third or fourth movie, and then the next morning when I started it. Or it wasn't even the next morning. It was actually, I got home. I flew in from Ohio that Saturday, and I started at about 4 or 5. And when I turned it on, it started from where it should have started Friday night. So obviously a lot of hiccups and weird stuff going on, but I live streamed some of it from the Instagram account, and a lot of people were saying thanks for doing that. So. But yeah, it was definitely a sign that he was missed, and there's still a appetite for that kind of programming. And of course, Darcy the Mill Girl was our fabulous co-host, Diana Prince.
Yay!
Hey, Diana.
We're gonna try to get her back on before. Well, in case you didn't know, they've announced they're doing something with him again. I highly doubt it's going to be a weekly show like they did on TNT, but maybe a Halloween special or something. Anyways, we're not done seeing Joe Bob, so he'll be back sometime.
So happy about that. It's very well deserved. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And my feed didn't start. I think my husband and I waited for maybe an hour and a half, and it didn't kick on. But instead of getting annoyed, I was just so happy for Joe Bob and for Shudder. So many people wanted to see this, and so many people were happy about this, that they crashed the site, and they just of course they prepared, and I'm sure they thought they had a good idea, but just didn't quite expect that. And I just thought that was super thrilling. And I feel like I was kind of reading comments online because I'm a very loyal Shudder user. I was a beta tester back before they even started. So I'm pretty loyal to them, but I was really worried that people would just drop them over this, or they just got the service for just this thing. But it seemed like some people were like that, but it seemed like a lot of people were also just like me and were really excited that this was a good opportunity for Joe Bob, and we're happy to see him on this show. Just anyway, and Shudder handled it well. I thought they put the streams up the next day. You can stream them whenever you want. I still watch them every once in a while. So I thought they, after kind of screw up, feel like they managed the after effect pretty well.
Yeah, and they, Shudder's owned by AMC, who does, Walking Dead and Breaking Bad and all that, and they also own I don't think they own the Sundance film festival, but they own the Sundance channel and I guess the Sundance website, and both of those sites crashed because of Joe Bob's traffic.
Oh, so
amazing.
Yeah. So, I'm right there with you. Most people that I saw were just super pissed I can't see it, but super happy Joe Bob is back, that kind of a deal. And
right.
He just there's something about him that people want to listen, and they want to, and I think it's because he's so versed in it, and he just, he has so much to say about it, every movie that he shows, but yeah, we are working on getting him to Nashville. If you listen to the episode, that's still going on. I'm working behind the scenes. We're trying to see how we can make that happen. Obviously, with this past, the last drive-in, his stock has risen quite a bit. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to pull it off now. But if we do, our friend Dead Serial podcast basically was like, we'll fly out if you make that happen. So holding you to that. But yeah, hopefully, I'm hoping by the end of this week we'll find something out. But anyways, keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. So I'm going to announce these really quick just so we can go to the fun facts because that's like the fun part of the show.
Yay, Lena!
And
we need
I can
a
do
little theme music to transition.
I know.
Well, I was going to say I can do the John Cena thing again if you want.
I love it.
So this will air Friday the 3rd. So yeah, I guess we can go ahead and talk about it. Saturday the 4th at 7, we're doing Big Trouble in Little China. We won't have a full crew there, I don't think. Lena, are you going to be able to make it?
Yes, I'll be there.
So myself and Lena and, well, I guess, or either Kayla's going to be there. I don't.
Me, I will.
Oh, you can make it.
Yep.
Nice.
I'll be there.
I am pending.
Okay. I will mention something to you when we get off there. So remind me about that, Miss KB.
Okay.
But my friend Ted is going to co-host with us. He is actually dressing up as Jack Burton. So yeah,
love it. I can't wait.
We went to college together. He went to Lambeth with Lena and I, and we were in different fraternities, but we were always friends. And then we met back up later. And one of the things that kind of like rehooked us, I guess, whatever you want to call it, was the John Carpenter stuff and 80s stuff and Monster Squad. And we both were just like, holy shit, I love Big Trouble in Little China. And he dressed up as him for Halloween, like 13 or 2014 or whatever. And so once I told him we're doing this movie, he's like, I'm dressing up and coming to the venue. I was like, okay. And,
okay.
But we've never seen it on the big screen. And that's really the whole point of us getting involved with Full Moon, is just being able to go see these movies we never got to see on the big screen. I mean, even the last one we did, Freddy vs. Jason, a lot of people, they were maybe too young to see it, or they weren't as into horror as they are now. And, I mean, that's quasi-recent, 15 years ago. But still, even something as recent as that, there's still people that never got to see it. So so this one's a big one. Obviously not a quote-unquote horror movie, but it is a monster movie. So,
and it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
And our buddy from the UK, Mr. Sean Watson, designed our poster. And if you've seen any big things lately, his posters for It have been going viral. Jessica Chaston has reposted his stuff. What's the director's name? What's his name? Andy?
I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
I don't know either, actually. I don't want to screw it up.
I'd rather not say it than butcher it.
I think it's something like
Andy M.
Yeah, I think it's something like serendipitously.
Exactly.
So they've been reposting it, and one of the kids from the first version or the first volume just did something on Facebook. So his stuff's been awesome. It's been going viral. So if you just look up It posters or whatever, you'll most likely see his work. But yeah, he designed the Big Trouble in Little China poster for us. And we'll have, I think we got 50 of them at the show. So if you want those, come out. We're also, I don't have the logistics yet, but we have, it's basically, it's called Music City Horror Creepy Club. And it's just a little membership card. And so if you, buy a poster or buy a shirt or buy both, we'll give you one of those and you'll quote unquote be part of our club. So just a little something fun.
Creepy club.
Yeah, join the club.
Yeah, so there's that. And then coming at the end of August, August 24th at Studio 615 in Nashville, East Nashville to be specific. It is called the Defy Film Festival. And I guess this is their third year running, and this year they're incorporating some horror into it. They're showing a movie called Pigs from the Ukraine, a movie called Blood Sisters from Australia. This one I think is supposed to be kind of a, I don't know, horror comedy or something. The title just makes me chuckle. But What Metal Girls Are Into.
Awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, and then they have a full length called To Tokyo. So they have 4 horror shorts and a full length that they're showing there.
Awesome.
But yeah, if you search for Defy Film Fest on Instagram or Google it, I'm sure they have a website. I didn't check, but that'll be August 24th. Starts at 7, and we're talking. I want to try to be there. I think if we can talk to one of the girls, maybe 2 of us can show, or 3, or whoever. So we'll post something about that on our Instagram closer to time. So just wanted to make a mention of that. So that was a lot for the intro.
We got a lot to say.
Yeah, we did. We got a lot to say. But I'm excited for fun facts.
Yeah. Cool.
Fun facts.
We're working on our song, I think. Yeah, we'll get together in the studio and
Yeah, exactly. Lay some tracks down.
Right.
We'll come up with something that slaps.
Yeah.
Is that what people call it?
That's what the kids say.
Kids are saying.
It's like a knee slapper. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That sounds about what the kids say.
Yeah. So, cool. So when we come back, we'll have some fun facts. Facts of the week. All right. So here's Lena.
Yay, fun facts, everyone. So today I was racking my brain. I'm like, what am I going to talk about today? I don't want to give away our theme just yet. So I'm actually going to talk about a movie whose anniversary is today.
Ooh, I know what that is.
I'm sure y'all know what it is. I posted it on my Instagram today. And yes, it's your favorite blood-sucking Brady Bunch, The Lost Boys. Yes. Released July 31st in 1987. It is 31 years old, which is awesome. I'm actually going to start before my fun facts and do a fun little Music City Horror Totals inspired by Joe Bob himself, since we've talked about him earlier. Yeah. So here we go. 0 breasts. Sorry, everyone. 1 shirtless, cut, oiled up saxophone man with Eli knows all about.
If I might interject right there, I was at a conference this weekend for work, and I was in the lobby, and somebody had called me. I don't remember. Anyways, I got off the phone, and I'm hearing this it's almost like a Kenny G, like very adult contemporary, and it's that song. And it's the same dude singing it, but he cut an adult contemporary version of that.
Whoa.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Oh my God.
I love it so much.
Yeah, I didn't even know how to react. I was just kind of shocked. I didn't know that existed. So, and the guy, I forgot his name, Tim Caparella or whatever his name is. He just put out a solo album too. So.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Okay. Half-naked Rob Lowe. That always blew my mind. We've got maggot takeout. We've got some vampire sex. Rub-a-dub in the tub scene, which is my favorite. 1 vampire, Eddie Munster. Death by Stereo Foo, Death Breath Foo, and Grandpa Foo. Love you, Grandpa. All right. So, fun fact number 1. Opening weekend, this movie made $5 million. That's pretty cool for back in 1987. Ended up grossing $32 million.
Whoa.
That's pretty awesome.
Hot dudes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have to throw it in there. Kiefer Sutherland is a bleach blonde vampire. I'm about that life. Fun fact number 2. This was Corey Haim and Corey Feldman's first film together, which marked the start of the popular 80s trend, the 2 Coreys. They ended up starring in other films together. I mean, this one being the most popular, obviously. And they were both in other horror films as well, as like teenage horror. Silver Bullet, Corey Haim, awesome. Fun fact number 3. This was filmed in only 3 weeks. I did not know that. That's pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
But,
wow. Yeah.
But I wouldn't be able to tell that. Fun fact number 4, Corey Haim, who played Sam in the movie. This goes back to my drive-in totals. He has a poster of Rob Lowe in his room, which the director says he recently directed St. Elmo's Fire, so he put that poster in there. But do y'all know which poster I'm talking about?
Yep.
It's like very awkward, but whatever. I'm like,
strange.
you do you. If that's what you want. That's cool.
Yeah, like that's cool.
Yeah. It always catches my eye. I'm like, what? Fun fact number 5. Corey Haim later characterized his experience on the shoot as one of his greatest personal experiences in his life. So that's not so fun because he died at an early age of 38. So sorry, womp womp.
Yeah.
But him and Corey Feldman were my favorites in this movie. So that's pretty cool. Fun fact number 6. Gerard McMahon wrote the theme song "Crying Little Sister" after only reading the script. He didn't see a single part of the film before writing that song. So that's pretty crazy because it fits perfectly. And I don't know if you've all heard it. Marilyn Manson has recently covered that song. I haven't listened to it all the way because I love the original so much that I almost can't bear to hear it. Although I do like Marilyn Manson. I'm not hating.
He does some good covers. He's like really awesome at that.
Yes, I'll have to give it a better shot. And lastly, characters in the movie say the name Michael approximately 118 times. If you go on YouTube, you can watch a 2.5 little film of all of them saying Michael, which I think is super entertaining. I think that's hilarious. Michael.
That is kind of weird, but they just keep like as if we don't know what his name is.
Right.
That's very strange.
And I will wrap up my fun facts with my favorite quote from Grandpa. One thing about living in Santa Carla, I never could stomach all the damn vampires. Happy anniversary, Mom Plays.
Yay,
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was very
Love
impressive.
And we posted something, I think it was about a month ago, but it was just like a what's a comfort food movie or something something you can watch at any time, any day, or whatever. And that one was mine. I was actually I was in some other state. I think I was in South Carolina, and I was in my hotel, and I just got Uber Eats, and I was like, what do I want to watch? Lost Boys. And I can't even tell you how many times I've seen that movie, and we've talked about it before. That was one of the first ones that I saw, like, by myself as a child, too early to be watching it by myself.
It's been a very long time since I've watched it, and I feel ashamed to say that because it's one of my all-time favorites.
Don't be ashamed. It's okay.
There's just so much stuff
It's still
to
on
watch.
Netflix.
We did. Aaron and I watched it maybe a couple weeks ago, and I remembered What We Do in the Shadows. They have that scene where the people come over and they have dinner, and they're like, do you like your spaghetti? And they're like, your spaghetti's worms. And they're like, we took that from the Lost Boys. I forgot about that. So, like, watching that scene in Lost Boys just cracked me up because they do that in What We Do in the Shadows. And I just love that movie so much. It makes me laugh. I love that part. Where I can't remember, do they call it like Paschetti? I think they call it Paschetti.
God, I hope so.
It's so funny. Oh, best movie.
Well, that was a very entertaining fun facts list.
Hey, thank you.
Probably one of my favorites that we've had so far.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah, awesome. Cool.
All right, so we're going to get into this episode. So we started... What was the first one we did of this? Was it... Oh, it was Universal Monsters.
The first and only one that we've done.
First and only one, right?
Yeah. The first of many, I guess.
First of many, hopefully, yeah.
He made me question whether we'd done another one, and I forgot about it.
Yeah.
Which is very like me.
This is kind of I guess two birds with one stone. It's kind of helping us during the downtime, as we've mentioned, when it's not the fall and it's not centered around Halloween and horror and stuff. But it also just be a way for us to talk with each other and, kind of let, our personalities out and chat about some stuff. So this was the second retro rewind. And we chose this movie because I want to say it's August 5th is the 30th anniversary. But the topic of the movie, or the topic of the show, is the 1988 remake of The Blob. So, yeah, it's the 30th anniversary. We were talking a little bit before we got on. Some of us, it's been a while since we've seen it. Some of us caught up before we started recording. I think, so this one now is considered, it's kind of the trilogy of The Thing, The Fly, and The Blob. But when it came out in 1988, it bombed. It was, I think, and of course these were 1988 numbers, but I think the budget for it was like $16 million, and it only did $8 million total at the box office. So it was like,
that's brutal.
Yeah, it was like a pretty big bomb. But if you go back and look at a post we did a couple days ago on Instagram, 1988 was stacked with horror stuff. I mean, if you look at the stuff that was released in that year, that is like an all-time list. I mean, there was a Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Halloween 4, Friday the 13th Part 7.
It's Child's Play came out.
The very first Child's Play.
Yeah.
Phantasm 2. I think Hellraiser 2 came out that year. Mm-hmm. Blob, just so many awesome movies were out that year. So I think it was it got kind of lost in the wash. I think it might have been a, kind of like KB was saying, there's just so much shit going on. So back then, we didn't have all the streaming stuff. So if you had that much stuff hitting the theaters at one time, it was like, holy crap, I can't possibly go see every single one of these. So, but anyways, so yeah. So who wants to get started?
I thought this movie was really. I hadn't actually seen the entire original movie, but I just remember a lot of clips or references to like people stopping in the street and being like, "Oh no, it's the Blob coming to get us!" Like it just feels very old fashioned, and so I feel like this is one of those movies that it deserved a remake, to kind of update it a little bit, because it is this kind of scary idea, but it is also kind of a silly idea. But how did you guys think they handled kind of updating the Blob, which is basically just a rolling blob through a town? How do you think they handled it?
I thought it was way more terrifying than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like the body horror part of it. I mean, wow. I thought it was scary but hilarious at the same time. Does that make sense?
It was disgusting.
Like, disgusting.
Yeah.
It was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. I thought it was super cool because I'm an example. I thought I had seen this movie and I had not. So I really, really enjoyed it. I've got a lot of different notes about stuff that I liked about it. Like even like it reminded me of how directors even shoot today. Like toward the beginning, where the Blob kind of attaches himself to the homeless man's hand, and then cuts to the kids slurping up the Jell-O. Like I just enjoyed that. I was like, I love how they did that.
Yeah, they had those. It did feel pretty modern in a lot of ways too, with like those kind of directing choices. It also feels pretty well paced. Like, I thought it was a good, fast paced sort of story. It gets started pretty quickly. There's not a whole lot of like, let me tell you everything about these characters, because I mean, they're interesting and all, but show me the blob.
Yeah.
So I thought they did a good job with that.
Yeah.
Well, and it was a slight difference too. I don't know. Overall, well, we've kind of talked about it. I'm not a big fan of remakes anyway. But you know, they had those three in the 80s were incredible, and they're like, you know, light years past what the originals were doing and capable of. So you can do something good out of them, but you know, the original one in the 50s with Steve McQueen, it was just like an alien, like a blob fell out of space and just whatever. In the 88
and then
one,
just whatever.
Yeah, just whatever.
He did his blob stuff, you know.
He just blobs around.
Well, that's the sound he makes too. He's just like blab. So, but in the 88 one, it was like a government experiment, you know, and they were trying to make it like a weapon. So it was kind of a, you know, they tweaked it to work better in the 80s. In both versions, it's still the cold that affects it, you know, kills it or whatever. But other than that, they changed it. I thought this one, the interesting thing is, so it's directed by Chuck Russell, and Chuck Russell's debut movie, like the very first movie he directed, was Nightmare on Elm Street 3. So
nice.
Right off the bat, he hits a grand slam with, you know, what some people think is even better than the original one. You know, Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors. His second movie was this one, which he wrote and directed. He also did The Mask with Jim Carrey. He did Eraser with Arnold, and he did Scorpion King with the People's Champ, Mr. Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
The Rock.
Love Dwayne.
But he's done he produced a lot of things before that, and he wrote a bunch of things before that, and then Nightmare on Elm Street was the first one he got to direct. It was actually co-written with Frank Darabont. Do y'all recognize that name?
Yeah, Walking Dead.
He was
and
Walking Dead.
Shawshank.
Oh.
Everything.
Green
awesome.
Mile, The Mist.
Badass.
He was the one that did the Mist movie, which, you know, had the
good one.
Yeah, the good one. Had the shocking ending or whatever. But he created the Walking Dead TV show and was there for the first season and a half, and unfortunately he's suing AMC, and it's a big mess now. But so yeah, it's, you know, the pedigree is awesome. It's always funny now. I've kind of gone back. There was like a troop, or is that how you say it? Troop, or what is it?
Troop. Yeah.
Yeah. There was like the kind of like the Streetwise Kid, or like the, you know, whatever. But he always had like the New York accent. And it didn't matter where he lived. Yeah. It was always, you know. So in this movie, it was Kevin Dillon. And I went back and watched Shocker. And Peter Borg was that. Now, he wasn't really the street kid, but he was like the quarterback. But it's always this like New York accent. It's like, yeah, but the film's shot in California. Like, how did you?
Tough guy.
The tough guy, you know. And there were some other ones like that. And it's like, that was like a thing that they did in the 80s. I guess they probably still do it now. But anyways, yeah, I think the star of this movie is the special effects. You know, I think this was in the height of practical effects, and as KB mentioned, they're disgusting. They're just really, really gross.
It's honestly, it takes a lot to make me. The only word that I can find is queasy, and that is one of them. But at the same time, the other two movies in the little trio are movies I've watched like once or twice and will never watch again for the same exact reason.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are that way about The Fly. You know, I mean, I think The Fly
can't do
is worst.
That movie is so
not do it.
So sad. I think it's just, and I thought the Blob handled those scenes well too. Like, you get to know the characters enough to, everybody's nice, or most people are nice. And so when they're sucked up by the blob in nasty ways, it's kind of like, oh, that's sad. They're not just random, bystanders. A lot of times they're people that you kind of think are nice. Yeah. I did appreciate, and I think this is kind of funny, the main character girl, I don't know people's names very well. Meg, I guess.
Meg.
She's dating like that cute boy, and they're going to go on a date, and he ends up dying like first, which I thought was unusual because usually, it's set up as this couple gets to kind of run around together and be heroes together, but he dies and she has to run around with the Kevin Dillon's like kind of punk kid. And they're the heroes. And I thought that was pretty interesting that it kind of flipped that a little bit because he's so unusual and very much an outcast in the town.
Yeah. Well,
I thought that was cool.
The way they set it up too was like, they show him, at football practice and he's all nervous around her, and then he's at the, he's at the pharmacy and his buddy's buying the condoms or whatever, and then it ends up that the pharmacist is her dad, and when he picks her up, so they give him all this time, and then boom, he's fucked. So
and they set him up to be the hero, and he's just not.
Yeah,
I know. When he met the dad, and his dad said "ribbed," I died.
Oh.
Literally died.
Just like secondhand embarrassment. Oh.
I know. I was like covering my eyes. I was like,
it's too awkward.
But like the hobo with the hand thing, when he's in the hospital, and I guess that guy you're talking about walks in and he turns over and you can just see the stuff going up and down his throat, and then they pull the thing off and he's just disintegrated. It's just like, and then I actually think I found this out from Shockwaves. They interviewed the special effects guy on this. And I think the story goes he was hired on to do like a consultant kind of a thing. And then he ended up just like kind of taking over, and he brought on a crew of like 33 people and just did the whole thing. But that scene where he, the big football guy, he gets absorbed, however you want to say it, and the girl comes in and he's like he's reaching out with his arm, There was like if you go back and watch it and kind of pay attention to it, it was like a tube, and so he like put his arm through the tube, so you can see his right arm is in this like plastic thing. And he said the blob itself was like something you wouldn't think of, like a paper, like a towel or something. It was crap. I'll have to try to Google it. I don't remember, but it was something like you would not think that's what it was at all. But the way that they filmed it and the cameras and everything, that it made the effect happen. But some of the stuff, like when they're at the diner, the scene with the sink is just really.
That did give me the heebie-jeebies.
And I have a garbage disposal, and I always get nervous about like touching it or being close to it.
It's like, don't reach down in there, dude.
No, like you're such an idiot.
The only thing that I could keep like screaming the entire time was when the guy went to like touch the girl's boob.
Oh yeah, Nikki.
And I just kept screaming, his titty got her. The titty got him. The titty got him downstairs and asking me why I was screaming for one, but screaming about a titty.
Yeah.
So it was very concerning to him.
That was that girl was Erica Eleniak, who was in. She's in a lot of stuff, but I think she was most famously, she was Ellie Mae in the Beverly Hillbillies movie with Ernest.
More importantly, her titty is an alien.
Yeah.
Yeah. And attacks this like molesting boyfriend or whatever. I know. Creeper.
Yeah, if you watch that whole thing, it's like Creep Townsend. Like he's like drinking with her, and she's like obviously just way intoxicated. He's like, cool, I'll make you another drink. And he pops the trunk, and there's like a full bar, and he had given her his like class ring, and he's got like 50 of them in there, and like just you know, he was one of those that was like, cool, I'm glad he's gone. But at the diner, though, the waitress had told the sheriff to meet her after the shift or whatever, and I think I told Kayla he was the guy that played Dale on Walking Dead, so Frank Darabont kept that connection, I guess. But anyways, but she gets in the phone booth, and then it absorbs in, and you see his head floating, you know.
Oh, it was so gross.
Yeah, and then it just like bursts in, and it takes her, and I think the big thing is just like it was so like, well, that plays into what you just said too. Like those two people were nice, you know, like the sheriff, you know, had a really good demeanor about him, and he was, you know, going out on a limb asking the girl out or whatever, and she was obviously, you know, making the guy sandwich and real nice about it, whatever. And then they just got screwed, and it was just like the way that they positioned all that stuff. It was really like no one was safe. You know what I mean? Like it was just relentless. It was just like it was, and then once you found out it was kind of like a weapon, it made sense that's just, it was whatever, born or programmed to just keep going and keep killing and keep absorbing and stuff. So I like that they didn't do it like the 50s version, because I think I only saw that one time, and I think it was like the blob gets bigger and it just keeps like eating and eating and it gets really kind of like fake looking, and this kind of definitely more menacing, I guess.
Yeah, I like that it took place in a small town rather than a big city. I feel like it would be easy to be like, let's put the blob in Times Square, and that's terrible. Yeah. That's terrifying. But I like that they did it in a small town where I think, like, and I like movies that take place in small towns because that's where people feel safe. And this is something that they have no control over. I also really like government conspiracy movies. I don't know if anyone else likes those too, but horror movies where like there's some sort of weird conspiracy, like scientists like have let something loose and everyone's paying for it, and I don't know, I just like that kind of stuff, I guess. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist either, but I just think it's entertaining.
Got a aluminum foil hat.
Put my hat on. Yep. Biological weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
Chemtrails, I don't know, whatever people are nervous about. I don't know.
I do want to throw in, I saw on some website, it might have been Wikipedia, that the budget was set $19 million and $9 million went toward visual effects. So,
whoa,
yeah.
I mean, it shows they look really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I'm trying to find this real quick. Yeah, I wish they did more practical effects nowadays. I don't know. I feel like that's becoming kind of a lost art, or maybe it's coming back, but for a long time it was kind of lost. So it's nice to see it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when movies embrace it and kind of do it the right way, you know, it's like anything. Like this stuff should be cheaper to make, so you should be able to do this stuff. But it comes down to just easy. You know, it's easy. And, you know, less hassle than you know, just do it on a computer and be done with it.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
So I really can't find where. I can't really find. Well, anyways. So have y'all heard they're talking about remaking this movie?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be a remake of the remake or a remake of the original. Tentatively, Halle Berry is attached to it.
Interesting.
Fail.
It's like, I've been a fan for so long.
Man, I don't know. She just, it's.
I don't know.
I've seen a few movies with her in it recently. I'm like, what happened? How did you do this? I'm always skeptical of remakes anyway, but this is one of those where it's hard to get people to buy into something like this now. Mm-hmm. I feel like it doesn't really quite work anymore unless they find some sort of different way to tell the story. I just feel like this is something that people don't find that scary anymore.
I think,
in a movie theater, you know what I mean?
I think it goes back to what we were saying earlier. I mean, if you almost any horror movie that we liked could be done today if you tie it into like the Facebook culture and like fake news and all that stuff. Like they don't care. You know what I mean? I mean, it could be on
true.
CNN. Nuclear. Or, military experiment goes awry, Blob's eating, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, that's fake news. You know what I mean? Like, so from that standpoint, I could see it, like, spreading and taking over just because, like, people aren't paying attention. They're not trying to evade it or, that kind of a thing. So, but, yeah, I mean, it's kind of...
But are they interesting enough to give that a shot? I don't know. Yeah. I feel like it could be kind of a lazy money grab in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
Which would be
the remake of the thing. The remake of the thing was great.
Oh yeah, it's true. Well,
I enjoed it.
But people didn't make a lot of.
I'm assuming Eli that you disagree since you're mumbling.
That was a low shriek.
A low shriek.
Yeah, it was more like
a low shriek.
Just
some shriek.
Some small animal is like dying close by to Eli.
So it was what you just said, Kayla. I mean, they hired this company to do all the practical effects because the company that was hired obviously loved the original. And they're like, oh shit, and I guess it's quote unquote kind of a prequel ish, I don't know where they landed on that one.
They tried to do something prequel-ish, like interesting.
So of course, the people that grew up watching that were super pumped to be putting their hand on it, and then the majority of the effects were replaced with CG, and the CG was rough. So. That's my biggest thing with it. I don't have a problem with it. I just think it was unnecessary. Like, what was the point? It didn't spawn another one, and it didn't really improve on. Which it's going to be hard to beat Carpenter from the '80s, But the CG was really iffy with me. So, but anyways. That's my 2 cents on a movie we're not even really talking about. So.
But no, I feel like it's a concern that, I feel like people are kind of getting out of the remake machine a little bit, or more skeptical of it anyway. I just feel like it's not a good time. It's just like, put it away somewhere, bring it back out later, because I feel like people are more savvy a little bit, at least from my point of view. Like when people are like, there's going to be a Chucky TV show, everyone's like, ugh, instead of like, yay. And I feel like maybe that was maybe like 5 years ago, that would have been cool. I don't know.
Well, I mean, like the big movie event of the year is the one you're looking forward to, the Suspiria remake. So,
well, I mean,
2.5 hours.
Skeptical. I just can't let myself be excited. I don't know. There's something in my body that's just like, no, not even
it's
like
the chest vagina that ruined it.
Oh
my god!
And it's not even like the original one is fine. It's not my favorite, and some of it's kind of terrible. But I don't know. There's just something about it where it just feels. I don't know. I just can't be excited about a remake of something that was so important. Maybe is what it is. I don't know. I just can't let myself like it yet. Plus, Dakota Johnson's the worst, and I will talk horribly about her every time we mention it.
Agreed.
Suspiria, I'm like, I hate her. She's the worst.
So agreed.
The worst. Ugh. Watch the make a Blob starring Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That'd be our work. Yeah. I mean, overall, I think. I think this is like a lot of movies, unfortunately. It's getting its praise after, even in the same realm we're talking about, like with remakes. KB is a big fan of the Evil Dead remake. I think it's getting more recognition now than it did when it came out, and I mean it wasn't even like a bomb or anything. It was a pretty decent hit. I don't think it was like it didn't set records or anything, but I don't think it like lost money or anything either. But I think now more people are talking favorably about that one, 5 years on than they were when it was first released. And I think the same thing with this, and it same kind of thing. It was on, HBO and USA and all that stuff growing up. So people, the kids in the 90s, we got to watch it, and it was obviously the tamed down version, unless it was on HBO. But, I think it just kind of, I hate to use the word cult following or, use that term, but it kind of did, a lot of the ones from the 80s, Monster Squad, obviously, and, some of those were nowhere near as popular as they were, when they were released. So,
yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. I don't know. I don't know if it's just more appreciation for the style or what it is, but yeah, it's kind of odd that these movies weren't hits right away, or at least as big as the bombs that they were. It's kind of shocking, actually.
Yeah. The big one was Monster Squad. That one was, I think that was a bigger bomb than the Blob, honestly, as far as like, it cost $10 million to make and they made $1 million at the box office or something. So
Crazy.
Bad.
But
yeah, if you haven't watched the Blob, watch it because it's good. You will probably like it.
I loved it.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And you'll probably puke.
Or probably puke.
Let's see. I'm trying to double check. I don't think it's on streaming right now.
No, I rented it from Amazon today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only available for rent and purchase at the moment. Actually, I don't know if I've ever seen it on a streaming site. And somebody was talking about it's been kind of hard to get the DVD, like the Blu-ray. I guess it was released by whatever company did the Blu-ray, and it like sold out almost instantly, and now copies are like $80, $90, $100. But you can buy the Australian version, which is region free, so it will work over here, and those you can get those for like $20. So, but yeah, I thought that one was a good one to do for this because we're about to hit the 30th anniversary, and this is one I would love to do at Blue Moon. So maybe I can put a little word in their ear and tell them.
That would be fun. Yeah, that would be a good one to watch.
I'll make sure to bring a vomit bag for myself.
Barf
Barf bags. Yeah. We'll put barf bags in all the seeds.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. Because let me tell you, it did not agree with me at all.
Yeah, it's gnarly.
I think the scene with the titty.
The titty non-titty, because you don't see the titty. It's just there's a bra. Yeah, a little bit.
So his whole like forearm like goes into the cavity, and then it shows her face, and her face is being like sucked in from the inside.
Oh, that was gross.
And then like you kind of see the outside of the car, and he's like kicking the window, and then you see the crap fill up, and then it kind of does this pan out thing, and like I don't know, there's something really like unsettling about that scene. Like I don't know, because in most horror movies, the girl would have been well, okay. Let's go back to the football player guy, right? So they get the homeless dude and they take him to the hospital. And then when he's in the room, they see he's decomposed or whatever. And then it lands on the football player guy. And then when the girl goes in there, he's reaching out his hand and she accidentally pulls it off. Well, when she lands and hits the wall, like nothing happens. You know what I mean? Like when she was knocked out, that blob should have been like, easy prey, bye bitch, whatever. And, it didn't, that was the only like, I'm sure there's more, but that was the only flub I noticed in the movie. Like, what happened with her? Because it didn't seem to discriminate who it killed, but
Yeah.
but yeah,
I don't want to mess up her pretty sweater that she borrowed from her mom. Like, that doesn't seem right.
Exactly.
But
that's cashmere.
it is. But yeah, it was but yeah, the drunk girl in the car, in a lot of horror movies she would have been spared. So the Blob obviously didn't care about her, so
Nope.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of makes it interesting. You can't really negotiate with the Blob.
no.
The Blob doesn't feel feelings.
No.
It's just kind of, and I think probably that what makes it a little unsettling is you can't talk to a Blob. It's not like Freddy. You can kind of chit chat with Freddy or kind of banter a little bit, but not a Blob.
To be completely honest, that movie just makes me want to watch Saw.
Interesting.
Because the girl in the movie is the girl from Saw.
Amazing.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that.
I did see that.
No, okay.
So cool.
Did I just blow your mind?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I knew that.
Shawnee Smith.
Awesome.
Yep, she was the girl in the Blob.
Nice. Okay, I need to rewatch Saw as long as I can get past Carrie Ellis's really embarrassing acting. He's so
terrible.
Bad. He's so terrible.
He's somehow great and awful at the same exact time.
It's amazing how you pull that off.
That's a really hard thing to do.
It's true. That is true.
I mean, KB coming in with the facts there. How about that?
Boom.
Fun
Been
fact.
saving it for the right moment.
Bird's got fun facts all over the place today.
Yeah.
Facts on facts.
We are
facts.
full of facts.
She was
I
keeping that one
heard
close
you
to
like
the chest.
facts, so we put some facts in your facts.
If you like facts, I might have some facts.
Yeah. I was trying to make it a rap song. I can't think of it. Sorry. That would have been really cool, though, if I could have.
Maybe next time.
It could be like that shot song, like the little John where he's like, shot.
Yeah.
It could be like facts.
Yeah.
I was trying to say, like, use a fine motherfucker once you back that facts up.
I love it.
We can make that Lena's theme song.
Yeah.
It's
Yes. Please do
it. Back that facts up.
Y'all are too much.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess we've said everything we need to say about the Blob from 1988.
I want to throw one more thing in there. I saw on Instagram
Let's hit it.
a while ago. I just saw that y'all know Pinewood Social has that little pool in the back or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing like a movie series, and August 28th, which is a Tuesday, they're doing I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, nice.
You can float the pool and watch some Pokemon and
That's such a fun one to watch with the group too. Oh, that's awesome. What a good choice.
cool. Yeah, I was kind of surprised they're doing that. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I want to check out Nashville Shores has been showing movies. And I think it's, obviously more like kid stuff, but that would be like perfect for like Jaws.
I've always wanted to see Jaws like on a tube
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
in the water. With my butt in the water. I just, I want to go so bad.
It's magical. Yeah.
Well, that would be cool. I think this is the part where we do the socials, right?
Yeah.
Yep. You know where to find us, you guys. Music City Horror, all over the place. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Also our blog, musiccityhorror.com. We write stuff. We post those lists of streaming movies, so you want to check those out for sure, too. What else? Indie Popcorn. Post some stuff about us. You can find us all over Instagram. We're on Instagram most of the time.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk to us, that's probably the best place to find us there, too.
Sometimes we get froggy and post videos.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It gets pretty exciting
You
up in
can
our
see our
Instagram.
faces.
I know. You can see our faces and put our voices with our faces. It's super fun.
Yeah.
Like, where do all these accents come from? That's the face. That's us.
That's how we do it. Okay, I guess that's all for this episode. I could have swore I had one more thing to say, and I don't remember what it is. So,
Do we need to do any shout-outs?
oh, yeah.
I have a couple of shout-outs this week.
Bam.
Ooh, I have a shout out too.
Let's get it. Let's get going.
How
Awesome.
about that? Okay, so I'll go ahead and go first since I'm the one that brought it up.
Yeah.
I've got a shout out to 2 podcasts, not any that I personally know, but just a couple that I've really been into and that some of my friends have worked with, so I've recently started listening to them. The first one is Rassle Rap, at Rassle Rap on Twitter, I think on Instagram too. His whole show is literally talking about hip hop and wrestling. One of my friends, one of my really close girlfriends that's, into the whole wrestling community. She also makes like streetwear merch. She was on it and I listened to that episode and it's really, really interesting whether you're into one or the other. It is primarily more of a wrestling podcast, but it's super, super interesting. I really, really like the host. He's a lot of fun to listen to. The next one is Swish and Flickcast. Has anybody listened to Swish and Flick?
Nope.
No, but Ari sounds like I'm gonna like it.
I'm
Right.
so excited.
I know I recently, at 31 years of age now, I almost said 30, but I just turned 31, am revisiting Harry Potter. It's not not ironically, but happily, today is actually Harry Potter's birthday. We're recording on his birthday, July 31st. So happy birthday, Harry.
Yay.
I have recently, seen the movie a million times, grew up with the books since I was, actually 11 years old. I have recently started re-listening to them. I got an Audible account. I listen to it in the car while I work out. I listen to them all the time. So I've been revisiting the books, but you only get one book a month with your Audible subscription. So in between, I decided to look up Harry Potter podcasts. So Swish and Flick is a Harry Potter podcast, if you didn't catch that. But they actually break it down chapter by chapter.
Damn.
So I'm only on maybe chapter 4 or 5 of the Sorcerer's Stone. So they go into discussions. They go into, trivia. But it doesn't stay within the confines of book 1. So it discusses, basically if you're rereading book 1 and you've already read book 7, how everything correlates and
cool.
a super open discussion. So I have been absolutely immersed in that. Every second I have to actually listen to something, it's actually usually been Swish and Flick podcast. So if you are a Harry Potter fan, definitely check out Swish and Flick. There's Swish and Flick on iTunes. On Instagram, there's Swish Flick Cast. I'm not sure if they have a Twitter. I didn't actually preemptively look it up, but they're really fun to listen to, and they discuss a lot of stuff if you're super into Harry Potter, and they are Swish Flick Cast on Twitter. So shout out to them, just because I think that this is the first podcast other than our own that I've really, really started listening to.
Nice.
So
That's cool.
Yeah. That's all.
Harry
That's
Potter
all I
stuff.
got.
I've got a really quick one. I think we've mentioned the Horror Virgin before. There are friends who have their own podcast called the Horror Virgin. They're part of the Modern Horrors Network. We had dinner with them a few weeks ago.
I wish I could have went to that because their podcast is incredible.
Yeah, they are so fun.
They're
and
so funny.
They're hilarious. I did a guest hosting spot with them a couple weeks ago that should come out soon. It's not out yet. And we talked about one of my favorite movies, and I'm excited for everybody to hear it. But they are just the most fun people. We ate so many snacks, and we watched the movie, which is something that Todd, who's a war virgin, has never seen before. And then we go through the movie and discuss it. And oh my gosh, I don't think I'd laughed so hard in months. They're hilarious. It was so much fun. And I can't wait to hear the episode. And
I can't wait to hear that either, because I
they're
really
so
do
fun.
need to pick them back. I need to pick them back up because they really, really are. It's good quality, and they are hysterical.
Yeah, they're
the Hereditary
amazing.
one.
Oh my God.
I died.
Yeah, they're hilarious. They're hilarious. They're fun people, cool people. They work really hard on the podcast, and they've just started basically, and they're already just killing it. So I just wanted to shout them out because they're awesome. Yay!
Hey, good job. I'm just going to shout out real quick. My friend Cole Roberts, he does the ice cream movie night. Sorry. Scary Movie Ice Cream Night podcast.
See, I'm giving you the itis now. You're stumbling.
I know you are. But he and his co-host Mike do a new podcast now called Saturday Morning Ice Cream, where they talk about growing up in the 80s and the 90s and how Saturday mornings were when we were like kids and what you watched, what kind of cereal you ate, you know. It really gives me the feels. So I've been really enjoying that lately and just kind of reminiscing on some things on TV or just being a kid in the 80s and early 90s. So
It was a good time to be a kid.
it was. It really was. So that's my quick shout out.
Awesome.
Somewhat related. I think y'all saw this, but Funko is releasing cereal.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah,
Yes.
so there's a Freddy cereal and there's a Jason Voorhees cereal, and I think there was a Beetlejuice, and I want to say I saw that they were releasing an It cereal. That may be wrong though.
I think I saw that today too.
Yeah.
That's
So-
interesting.
So I haven't seen them in the wild yet. Like I think the Freddy and Jason ones are only at GameStop, and I try to avoid that place at all costs. So, so they're doing that whole like exclusive, you know, and like what? No, I take that back. Jason and Freddy are at FYE, and there's only like 3 of those in Tennessee. So I'll never get to go to one of those.
That's sad.
Yeah. But yeah. I will just shout out Modern Horrors. Luke and Jacob at Modern Horrors. Kayla and I were at the, what was it called? Hypericon?
Hypericon, yeah.
That was about a month ago, and we were on a panel and talked about horror journalism, and they came to our panel, and then we went to their panel, and they got a lot of cool things working, specifically in the Nashville area, and they've got a lot of ties to some big names, including Shudder, among other people. So they always put out good stuff. Their bread and butter is obviously they put the modern and modern horror, so they're all about the new stuff. They, it's not that they don't like the old stuff. It's just that they want to make sure that the new stuff has the acclaim, kind of like what we're talking about with the Blob. They don't want it to slide slide through the cracks and have to go through life as a cult thing when it could be a success on the front end or whatever. So everything new releases, they're all about that. So modernhorrors.com, they're on Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. So check those guys out. So so thank you for the reminder, KB. I totally forgot about that.
No problem.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for this episode. I don't know when we'll get together again. We've all been so busy this summer. Hopefully we can start slowing down heading into September, because last year I think we did I think we did an episode a week for like that first 6 weeks, right? Like that was in like the brunt of like the busy season, though, right? Like we were.
Yeah, it was like ramping up for Halloween time, so we were quite busy.
Yeah, I think we were cranking them out. I mean, I'm not saying we'll do that again this year, but hopefully we'll put out more than one a month in the busy season. So.
And they may or may not have a correspondent for Halloween Horror Nights this year. So we'll see.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll have some more details coming soon. We have some. Hopefully, we'll have some Joe Bob news. We have something else coming at the end of October. Actually, it's kind of me and the husbands of Music City Horror. Kayla's husband, and Lena's husband, and other Kayla's husband will be in New York, but he'll be there in spirit. And yeah, we're finalizing the details on that, so hopefully we can announce that soon. We're tentatively telling people October 25th in Nashville. Keep your schedules open. That's a Thursday night, so hopefully you're not hitting up the haunted houses that soon, or if you have, you're not doing it on a Thursday night. So hopefully we'll get some confirmation soon, and I think that's it. So yeah, until then, we'll see you next time.
Cool. Peace out.
Holla.
Bye.
Bye.